Greetings all, it is Max and we are back. I'm going to have to check some levels here because it's been a while. I'm going to make sure that everything is running according to the way that it should be. Let me see. It is still not playing. Maybe we're playing. There we go. Audio is good. All right. So I produced a book that I actually wrote a long time ago, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that for anybody who is interested and whatever. I'm going to have to kind of advertise it a little bit because YouTube has been giving me content creator strikes on like everything. So it won't be very long, probably until my channel is shut down. I'm not exactly sure what the deal is, but they say medical misinformation. And this is on a Kent Hovind thing that was done 30 or 40 years ago that I got medical misinformation strike on. And also me playing guitar. So I don't know how much longer this is going to go, unless I delete everything on my channel. I'm not exactly sure. But in the meantime, I do want to talk about a book I just put out. It's a science fiction fantasy, sort of like in the realm of dystopian future, Mad Max sort of thing. Very science fiction-y. And I did not actually publish it, this particular one, because I do not believe in space and I don't believe in these things. And I didn't feel right about doing it, but it's a story and I have it, and it's not bad. I did it, and I have 4 more that are just waiting in the pile to go up and publish. And the main reason is because if I don't believe in space, I don't want to forward the idea. But now I'm thinking that, people understand what fantasy is and people understand science fiction and that it's not real. Okay. And so as long as, the book takes a long time to write, this one is 90,000 words, probably took 3-4 months, and I rewrote it like 3 or 4 times. It takes a long time to do this stuff. So I figured, what the heck? I'm going to publish it. And so what we have, the Kindle edition, for a whopping $6. Apparently you can read Kindle stuff on anything now. I'm not exactly sure how that goes, but you can get a hardcover book for around $20. And yeah, that's what's going on. Like I said, this is the first book that I wrote. So we're going back to like 2010, 2011. And I refused to publish it. I have books on the burner waiting to go up that I probably will publish that are a little bit more advanced or a little bit more going on. I'm not dissatisfied with the book. I think it's a good book, but this is only the first part. This is after me rewriting it 3 times. There's still another book or 2 to go after this, which is all the stuff that I cut out of the first book. And essentially what the entire thing is about is you could almost say a fish out of water, but essentially we have aliens in there, which is the big reason I did not publish. It's like, I don't believe in aliens. But if you go with the fantasy genre and you go with the flow, we got aliens over here, and you got spliced DNA, and you got these hybrid people, and you got all this stuff. If you go with the flow, yeah, it's like watching a Netflix movie. So that's what it is. And I'm going to advertise it before my channel gets completely shut down for all the bad things that I did, apparently. Kimberly O'Connor, how you doing? Kimberly O'Connor, where can you send for it? You can just go to Amazon and search for Leonard X, and it will come up. You can buy it in paperback for $20 or Kindle, which is digital copy or something like that, for $6. I might buy a few myself because I get a huge discount because I own it. And I might send them out personally, but I don't really think that anyone's really going to care. Honestly, no one's going to want my autograph. Kimberly, why would my channel be shut down? Because they come up with new algorithms, and the new algorithm decides what is bad. And so if I posted something 8 years ago and the new algorithm says that what I posted 8 years ago is a bad thing, then they give me a strike. So yeah, I had a lot of Ken Hovind stuff in 2012 because he was in prison, and I'm getting struck left and right on that. You want my autograph, Kimberly? Well, I'll probably buy. Here's the thing with this is the way that this works on Amazon Publishing, which is great. It's very easy, and they give you a free ISBN, which cost me, I think, like $15 and then $7 tax or something like that to publish books before. And they give me a free ISBN and they just do it for free. The problem is that I can't edit when it goes up and I send the manuscript there. I can't edit how the manuscript is. So if the formatting is off or the page breaks are off or it's not quite right, there's nothing I can really do about it. And that's what kind of aggravates me. So I don't know. I'll probably have to order one of my own books just to see how it actually turns out. But I made it big. I made it a big book, not the default book. It's like big. It's a big book. I don't know. YouTube is ridiculous, but there isn't too much of another option. It's kind of what I'm used to. And I'm an old man now. I can't change my ways. So I don't have too much, my next book. If I don't know how this works, I'm kind of like going through it. I get 3,500 words I could put for this description of my book, and I just made a couple of sentences. All right. Fantasy journey with the main protagonist as he wanders through his way through the wastelands, gaining enemies and friendships along the way, sometimes even love. Very standard. Leonard X is a fantasy story told from the view of who you want to be. We cannot be Leonard, but through this book we can. Simple. The next one's, excuse me. I'll have a better description for the next ones. I was just working my way through it, clicking next, right? How you publish these things in here. Click next. And so the description isn't all that great. So this is why I'm up here and I'm going to talk about it. And what it is essentially harkens back to when I got first into aliens before I was saved and all this stuff, and the Roswell crash and all these things. And I incorporate all that stuff into the book and come up with my main character as well as his nemesis and these things. And the main character's essential motivation for doing what he's doing is revenge. He's not that great of a guy. He has morals and standards, but he's kind of getting kicked around and screwed over. But because he is so important because of his genetics and his DNA, which I also really don't quite believe in, he is put into a position of more or less power. And he is a powerful guy. He's kind of like a superhero in some sense. And so that's how the story kind of goes. And he is useful for finding the stuff that the civilization needs after civilization has, been hit by an asteroid and kind of wiped out, except for a few places. And all the places that still exist, of course, they want to go to war with each other. Yeah, that's how that is. I don't know about a fascinating read. I enjoyed it. I read through it the last 2 weeks before I published it to make sure that it was right. And I'm like, it sounds pretty good. I'm pretty harsh critic on myself. But again, I am the author, so I know the backstory behind all the characters that may not go through in the book. I'm not sure. Like I said, I cut out 250 pages or something like that, because it's going to go on to the next book where the main character actually does go into space and deal with aliens. I cut that out of this book. Well, that's the next thing. And that's more or less already written, but this is the basic thing of kind of a guy doesn't really what do I say, has a lot of questions, and people think he's important and he doesn't really know why, and kind of piecing things together. Do I have to pay Amazon to publish my work? Yeah, they get 25%, which is a fair deal. That's better than a fair deal. The thing is that they probably won't promote my work, but if they want to take a 25% cut, they can go ahead and do that. I mean, that's whatever. I'm surprised that they'll actually print the book for me. That's what surprised me. They'll print the book, and I know what they pay for it, and they'll sell me my own book for probably less than the cost of printing it, because I'm the author. So they're pretty actually generous on that. Was I a screenwriter? No. My book would make a really good, my book would probably make a better screenplay than a book, but I mean, that's not really saying much, because screenwriting today is pretty garbage, right? Most people are pretty crap. Most things out there. So yeah, anyways, we'll see if it'll pull this up. Read a sample. This cover, I don't have my own custom art. Like I said, this is my first book that I'm publishing on Amazon to see how it works. This is just whatever came up, and you can click on some art that you can use, and this is what it is. I also want to say that this is where Max Bauer came from. All right. I'm not lying when I say it's a pseudonym. This is where it came from. All of my publishing is done under Max Bauer. So yeah. Let's see what we have. 92,000 words, 300 pages, Leonard X. We're talking about 2054. So sort of in the distant future, but the first events happens in 2026. And anyone who wants to turn on high def and look at it or whatever, you can read the thing. I mean, you can just go up and search Leonard X, and you can read the first 3 chapters, I think, and figure out kind of what's going on with it. Like I said, it's a dystopian nightmare future with Leonard, who has been living kind of in a cave through his entire childhood until his parents disappeared and died and went off to the big cities. And that's where his adventure began. Kimberly, you know me by Max Bauer? Yeah, so is everyone else. There are some people who want to dox me, though. Yeah. But that's okay. Anyways, Kimberly, if you want an autographed copy of Leonard X, I'll have to buy one just to make sure that the formatting is correct. Because, like I said, the only thing I can do is upload the document to Amazon, and they do whatever the hell they do with it. I don't get to see it. I don't get to approve it. I don't get to do anything. It's like, it's up there. And if it's screwed up, there isn't too much I can do about it. But there shouldn't be any, grammar and spelling mistakes. Not too much. I'm sure there's probably a couple. But if the formatting is all messed up, that ain't me. That ain't me. Anyways, what I can say about publishing on Amazon is that it's incredibly simple. It's so simple that I think that unless I actually advertise and say I have a book out there, no one would ever find it, because there has to be thousands of people every day uploading and publishing fan fiction and things like this. You know, there has to be, because it's just so simple. Upload my Word document, click publish. How much you want to charge? There you go. I don't know. It's way easier than, like, when did I write this? 2010, 2011, I wrote it. And back then I had to send out my entire manuscript, 300 pages, one-sided, and I had to mail that crap out to like Penguin Publishing or whatever publishing company. And they just threw it in the trash pile or something like that. And I did publish, I don't think it was Leonard X. I think I published Space Dust 9000 on like a free website where, you know, free publishing, you own the copyrights because you published it. That's the big thing. Once you publish something, you own the copyright. It doesn't really matter anything else. So published it. And I don't think the website even exists anymore. Like freereader.com or something like that. I don't even think it exists. Well, Kimberly, I think you can read it right here. There. Got a link, and it says read sample, and you can read the first 3 chapters. It's just kind of a setup. But my my original writing was completely different, where you went through Leonard's complete backstory for the most part, and who his parents were when he lost them and all that stuff. That's going to be in the next one. I decided that I wanted to start the book with heavy action to draw people in. So that's just the way that I did it. Do they print copies in advance? No, you order one and in 3 weeks you get it. Now, this one, the link I gave you was for the Kindle book, but there is also the, I just got approved 2 hours ago so that they're going to publish my hard copy. Anyways, it says in here, reading age is 10 to 17 years. I think I stretched that maybe a little bit. It should probably be like 14 to unlimited. I do have a lot of, it's dystopian future. There isn't any like deviant sexual behavior or anything like that in it, but there is like cursing and things, just with the different people you deal with. And there is a little bit of gore, probably, because Leonard X and not the Antichrist, but the anti to Leonard is, they're both very powerful. And it's kind of like watching The Boys or something, to where there's powers kind of get out of hand. I don't know. It's what it is. Good, Kimberly. That's why I effing love you so much. Just kidding. But no, I'm not a guy with a let me put it this way. I don't try and curve my language. A lot of times I think it's necessary to bring the character through. So gore is okay. It's difficult to have an adventure without it. Well, you're talking about people who are, well, like superheroes, essentially, in a dystopian future where people are fighting with sticks. I mean, and there are people who are evil and people who are bad. And they're going to do some stuff. And as far as Leonard's concerned, he doesn't even know how strong he is, at least in this book. And yeah, it's a lot of, I thought it was interesting when I even read the sample to it. What is it here? I think this is, it seems like I read the future or something. United Earth Core sensor arrays have been spitting terabytes of garbage to its bewildered operators all morning. Those in the command knew it was a prelude to an attack by the People's Liberation Army. Yes, I know that's China, but we'll just say this is the future. Maybe it's a different People's Liberation Army. But fervently disagreed as to the direction of possible attack, and to use the city's police force and military for the best defense. They realized now they had relied on their sensor and satellite data far too long in protecting the city's borders. This happened 1 month ago in Israel. This is exactly what happened when Hamas attacked Israel. I wrote this book 12 years ago. 12 years ago. I already saw it happening. I already saw it. I don't know. To me, it was just like, I read that again and I'm like, wow, mind blown. Anyways, some people like it, some people ain't gonna like it. It's $6. It's about the cost of a cup of coffee. It would really support me in my time of sort of need. I want to make it through the winter time without having to go back to slaving for somebody, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Kimberly, straightforward language, absolutely. But it's easy. It's easy for myself, depending on the people you're around. If they drop F-bombs left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right, that's how you naturally sort of start to talk. And that's what you got to watch out for. When I use my swear words, that's when I mean it. That's when I mean it. And a lot of times it's jokingly, but it's like, no, I really want to drop this. Ancient Celts fighting with sticks. Yeah, could be. Why not record audio for this? I actually have been looking into, since I started writing, actually into doing voice acting. I would record audio for it. Unfortunately, I mean, I probably can, but I don't think I would be the best person for it. Generally, the author shouldn't be the person who's voice acting. It should be somebody who appreciates the material and does it. But yeah, I mean, I could read it, but it would take about 30 or 40 hours just to read it. I mean, 300 pages is a lot. I mean, it's a standard fiction book. And when you're recording stuff, obviously you screw up. You have to hit pause, rewind, record again, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's a pretty significant chunk of time where I could be just writing more and let people who are professionally voice actors actually do it. We'll see. We'll see. You're Irish. You know my ancestors. Well, I'm Czechoslovakian, but as I tell people that I'm applying for jobs for, I am more than two races, sometimes Spanish and sometimes Native American, because I'm Native American. I was born here. That's just how I roll. Probably why I haven't been hired. Yes. Kimberly, thank you for saying that. I realized that. Unfortunately, it's where do you start? That's the thing. And I'll probably look more into it, but where do you start? I was looking at trying to do this. Like I said, 2010, I started writing and I took writing classes and from professional authors and stuff. Studied everything about writing, read everything of Stephen King, read his book on writing, and realized he was kind of a hack. And gone through the whole motions and, did my thing. And I'm like, I got a voice. I can do this. But like, here's the thing too, is Kimberly, I can play music like a madman also. I can replace the engine in your car. I can do all of these things. But what is out there for me, from my perspective, that I can do is like, oh, go work at the gas station. There isn't anybody who is out there looking for these things. Nobody in the last 20 years has been looking for live music. So writing music, guitar, out the window. You're never going to make a nickel. And now we're talking about writing. When I was studying this, let's take a example of Stephen King. Stephen King made 10 cents a word on his books in 1970. You make a third of a penny today. That's not counting inflation. So you're making nothing, because all of this stuff is exported out to all these countries who can kind of speak English, and they don't care. Just put a product out. But you're going from 10 cents a word in 1970 to a third of a penny back in 2010. Now it's 2023, 2024 almost. So it's probably an eighth of a penny by now. So you really can't make money as an author. You got to be in some sort of club. You got to be something, part of a family who they're just going to promote your crap, nepotism, whatever. There isn't any way you can actually make money doing it. Yeah. I've written like a dozen articles up there, and they gave me like 15 cents or something. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It's ridiculous now. And the funniest part about that is that everything that Hollywood has done in the last, 5 years has been total shit. It's been complete shit. But you're paying your writers an eighth of a penny a word. Why don't you give them 10 cents a word, or maybe $50 a word to write a good movie? If you're going to spend $500 billion making a movie, wouldn't you want to pay somebody to do it well? Because even if you're a fantastic writer, I think it was Isaac Asimov. No, it was the guy who does the Scientology. I don't remember what the guy's name is. The Scientologist guy understood that you made 10 cents a word. So all that guy did was just write, and he'd write shit, constant shit. And he'd get his 10 cents a word. Well, if you're getting an eighth of a penny a word, what are you going to write? What are you going to write? Even worse shit. Now, my stuff, I was doing it for practice, and it'd be nice to make a couple of bucks off it, sure. But like, I ain't settling down my future on writing books. It's ridiculous. You got to be crazy lucky, or be in part of the family or something like that. Just how it is. And good books have nothing to do with it. You look at Robert Keats. Holy crap, everything he does is garbage. Even Stephen King. I've read almost every. I didn't read Dark Tower, the entire thing, but I've read almost everything that he's done. And his writing and his articulation and his wordcraft is very good, but he can't tell a story very well. You get to the end and he totally screws it up. But he does have a few good books, and they're ones that no one had ever heard of. But like, he's rich and famous. Well, he was in the club. He's in the club. He got paid $200,000 in like 1970 for Carrie, which was a 150-page novella. He got paid back then. That's like $5 million up front for his book, Carrie. That's the one that made his career. Like, who the hell is going to give this guy $5 million for Carrie? It's an okay story, but it ain't that good. Oh, I got my period, so now I have witchcraft. All right. And I also turn me evil. Okay, whatever. I don't get it. Important physical labor. I would like to see you move using your voice and writing gifts before break yourself physically. I'm actually looking at going back into the trades to do physical labor because I can't stand sitting down in an office anymore. Like I said, I know computers. I know how to fix cars. I know how to spin wood. I know how to do all this crap, but nobody's hiring for any of that stuff. 200K in 1970 was huge. Yeah, it's like $5 million now. Every 10 years, the dollar loses 50% of its value. So I don't know. You go back to 1970, it's 50 years ago. You can multiply that over and over again. So 1980, it would be 400,000. 1990, it would be 800,000. 2000, it would be 1.6 million. 2010, it would be 3.2 million. And 2020, you're looking at 6.4 million. So we got paid $6.4 million for a 150-page book that wasn't that good. It was okay. And he was a teacher making $15,000 a year living in a trailer. Nobody drops that crap on anybody unless you're somebody who knows somebody or did some tricks for somebody or had some dirt on somebody. You ain't walking out of the trailer park with $6.4 million for a 150-page book. I mean, ridiculous. Ridiculous. You were 4 in 1970? Well, I wasn't even a speckle in the eye at that point. Wasn't even a speckle in the eye. Let's see. Well, I have one watcher, so I'm happy with that. It's going off. Nepotism is very fruitful. One of my best jobs was because of nepotism, not because I was I was one of them, but it was because a lot of stuff was overlooked because I wasn't one of them. Yeah. Anyways, that's about all I have to say, Kimberly. Do you have any questions for me before I check out? You remember things from the 60s? I don't remember anything from the 70s, only the early 80s. My first movie was E.T. and my second movie was Return of the Jedi. It was probably the same month. And that was my earliest memories of like movies and stuff. I mean, the televisions we had back then were 13-inch black and white. And I think we watched Gunsmoke, something like that. Yeah, I remember that. Someone would call me and I had a 50-foot cord on the telephone that has a little dial. Yeah. Good times, good times. Yeah, Spielberg in his prime. So anyways, that's what we got. I'm making my little advertisement before YouTube shuts me down. You search Leonard X on Amazon. It should come up with me. If it does not, go to the books or something like that, and it will come up. Or you could search Max Bauer author. But when I did that, it actually came up with a whole bunch of like gay romantic stuff, and that's probably not me. I probably didn't write that. Miss Landonese from Gunsmoke. Is that what her name was? The old hot bar lady or whatever. Yeah, Leonard X. Next one's going to be Space Death 9000. The next one after that's going to be continuation of Leonard X. Going to be Escape from Omicron. That's where Leonard goes to space. And after that, we're going to do The Armadillo, which is I really am mad that I did not publish that back in the day, because everything is so girl boss now. Everything is so woke. It's like I literally wrote a female badass Batman type character in the Wild West 10 years ago. And it's like, man, I'd be a millionaire now if I would have published that. But I didn't actually finish it. I'm about 50%, 60% the way through, and I have to find my writings again to actually finish it. But I'm like, man, if I actually would have done that, I would have done really well. Oh, well. Que sera, sera. So they say. And then, I got a boxing thing that's on the hanger. I'm going through all my writings. I had to find them because I didn't realize that when I replaced my computer, I did not copy over things into where I thought they were or whatever. So I'm literally going back through my actual handwritten physical writings right now to go put things up. It's just what I have to do. And the software that I use to write the stuff does not up to date. So I have to transfer everything to like I said, all this stuff is 10 years old. And I don't know. We'll get through that. Then we'll write something new and exciting. Well, I found the ones that I wanted to find. I'm just really upset about Space Desk because I cannot rewrite that. I can't rewrite that from scratch. It's a comedy, and you can't tell jokes that you heard 10 years ago and make it sound good. You can't remember the situations like you were in from 10 years ago and make it comedical like you used to. But I have them written down. I just have to go through and type it up. It'll be a while, but I'm really excited to do that. But I also do want to finish Leonard X, because now that Leonard X is up, I kind of want to take all that stuff that I cut out of the book and do the second one. So we'll figure it out. Anyways, thank you for participating, Kimberly. I think I'm gonna have to check out for tonight. It is 2:00 in the morning, but yeah. You got any questions or anything? Do you want a signed autograph copy of the book? All right. Well, which age group are you directing my writings to? Once again, I've never published on Amazon. I know nothing about it. So I went through and clicked through a lot of stuff, and they default a lot of things. And this says 10 to 17 years. I would say it's 14 to unlimited, just because I do use the F-bomb a few times in there when we're dealing with thugs and whatnot. And there is some violence and things in there, but there's no like sex or anything like that. There's kind of romance and things, but that's about it. Just language. It's 311. Isn't that a band? What I must stand now, epic comes. Yeah. So the reading age, I use big words. I have a fairly large vocabulary, but I think like a 10-year-old would get it and they would understand, like learn some more words about, how words work together and things like that. I on the book, the actual written one, I can change all the dynamics again. Once it's published, I can't change the thing. But on the I was approved for the Kindle, and then I had to get reapproved for the printed version, and I changed all of that. And I think I'm like 12 to 90 or something, 12 to unlimited. Yeah. Just because of dropping F-bombs. But like I said, I'll have to order one of my own books to see how it actually turned out, because they don't show me. It's just kind of, here's the stuff. And they're up there like Mussolini. I'm taking my 25% cut. And I'm like, thank you. Take my 25%. Take it. It's serious. I mean, Amazon is freaking great. The problem is that there is no advertising in that, like when you go through Penguin or you go through these other places, they'll actually put you in bookstores and they'll actually promote you, and you'll have to go book tours and signings and stuff like that. And Amazon is just like click, click, click. It's up there. But unless you promote it, you're never going to sell anything, Yeah. You never heard of 311? Never heard of down? Oh, that's too bad. Kids are more sophisticated than we were at the same age. I don't think so. I'll disagree with that. And here's why, Kimberly. And I can't speak to everybody on the planet. I can only speak from my life. In that my first car, I'll put it back into perspective. I grew up on kind of a hobby farm. My dad made lots of money. He just worked for the state. But when he came home, he took off his suit and tie and went out into the wood yard, and we would go cut wood, and we would heat the house the entire winter on wood alone. I was a little kid, and I would be doing that stuff. And I would be driving the trucks and the tractors, and the first four-wheeler or whatever I had was a 1940s Willys Jeep for World War II. And I learned to drive that when I was 6. That's how I grew up. Okay. We just do these things. We just drive, we do it. And then Dad always bought us little motorcycles that we could putt around. We had a lot of property. 90cc Yamahas. Had those things, and they would always break because they're always something bought at a garage sale. They're always something that's just total shit. I had a couple of them, and one time the engine seized up on one of them, the one that I always rode. And so I took another one when I was like 10, unbolted the motor, pulled everything apart, put it in the other thing, and I was off riding again when I was 10. Kids today do not do that. Kids today don't even know what a hell a wrench is. All right. It's not the same. And that's largely due to because society today is so much of a throwaway culture. It's like, oh, it's broken, throw it out. It's broken, throw it out. Well, that's not the way that I was brought up. My dad's a minimalist, even though he made lots of money. He had old trucks, old stuff, and he showed me how to weld on everything and how to fix everything and how to do this and that and the other thing. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was normal. I thought every kid knows how to do this stuff. And then you grow up and you realize that your buddy doesn't know how to change his brake pads. I'm like, you don't want to take the wheel off your car? It's 2 bolts, buddy. It's 2 bolts. 2 bolts. Take the brake pads off. 2 bolts. Take it to the shop. Pay $300. Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Mom hated the throwaway society. Well, I don't know much about it. Like I said, I never made a lot of, well, I used to make a lot of money. I should preface that and to say that in my 20s, I was making 6 figures. And I never had any money for whatever reason. Squandered it, did this, did that, did the other thing. It was never into anything important. Then, you know, you hit the rock and you go into bad times and things, you have no money. And then you figure out that these things aren't important. This isn't important. That's not important. That's not important. That's not important. And I think largely because of the skills that my dad taught me when I was a little kid or something, instead of paying, you know, $100,000 to remodel my house, I think I paid $15,000 doing the work myself. I had to buy a roof, which is cheaper to have the Mexican guys do. But like all the stuff in the house, you know, I just did it myself. Put up a fence. It was $3,000. Pretty big fence. I did have help on that, but I didn't need it. I didn't need the help. That's how you save money and how you're a minimalist. And, you know, as far as investing goes, it's like always have investments for the future. And like this book, even if it does nothing, I can at least prove that Max Bauer existed. He existed. He was right there. He's got his dumb green book, right? And maybe it'll be another income stream. Maybe not. I kind of doubt it, but at least it's out there. Daughters need to be shown car and home repair also. Well, that gets into the whole red pill thing of like, if women want to be equal with men, then they should take care of all that stuff and be 50-50. But that's never the case. If the lawn needs to be mowed, it's always the guy. The car has a problem, it's always the guy. And it's like, well, it's 50-50. You should probably fix that yourself. I don't know. That's one of those big, long discussions that I don't really have to be a part of anymore. So I'm not in the, on the dating scene or anything. But yeah, women seem to demand 50-50 and equal treatment for everything until there's something that actually needs to be done. That's hard. And it's like, you can probably change your own tire 50-50, right? You can probably do this. You can probably mow the lawn half the time. You can probably plow the snow. You can do all this stuff. But that's not the way that the world is, because society is rational. And it's just in this last 10 years or so that it's just gone so far over the top that it's really even hard to deal with. I can't believe, like, myself as an older guy, I don't know what in the hell the millennials and the Gen Z or whatever are doing as far as dating goes. I mean, like, I don't even understand it. How do you put up with these TikTok chicks? Like, how do you put up with that? I don't even understand it. That's a whole different long ways discussion. Kimberly O'Connor, guy is not always around. Well, I don't know. If you're married, the guy's mostly around. Generally, a guy's like, if you work opposite shifts or something, generally the guy is fixing everything and doing everything while you're at work and you never see it. And then you're just mad. because he doesn't pay attention to you or something. And it's like, dude's tired. He's been out working the whole time. He's been out working the whole time. That's obviously not in every case, but I know a little bit from experience on that. Yeah. So that's about all I have to say, Kimberly. You got anything left? You're going to go buy my book. You're going to buy my cereal. Buy it. All right, we'll do. So maxbauerproductions@gmail.com. I'm probably going to order some hard copy books for myself because they're basically the same price for me as the Kindle edition. So I can do that. All right. Well, I'll have to figure out how much money I can scrape together and how many I can buy. I don't think there's going to be a whole huge amount of interest because this is not a Christian book. Like I said, that's why I did not publish it. I became a Christian. Well, I'll obviously sign it. I became a Christian about 3 years later. And that's when I decided that I'm not going to actually publish it. And back then they didn't have Amazon quick click publishing, right? So you actually had to go through a huge rigmarole and send out postage and little packages that, you know, some HR Karen is just going to throw on the ground and burn it. They don't really care and whatever. Just how it is. But now that I can one click everything and we can go through and yeah, we'll do it. We'll buy a few copies and we'll send them out and we'll sign it and I'll get it. And it's probably going to be $5. Well, it's medium mail. Probably going to be $5 shipping or something like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, it'll be less than $20. So that's all I have for today. That's all I got. It was a good discussion, Kimberly. Thank you for coming on. I realize it is 2:00 in the morning, but yeah. Publishing is open to all now. Yes, it is. It's just a matter of if they bury you or not. Like, I can publish on YouTube all I want, but they're trying to bury me and trying to cancel my stuff. But if I have hard copies of books out there, no one can ever say that I didn't exist. I've been on the map for 5 years. That's why I don't do a whole lot on YouTube anymore. I've been on there for a while. Yep. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I think I just want to publish the stuff that I've already have written. I mean, like I said, it's not easy to write a book, and people, you know, have good ideas and they have these ideas in their heads and they think, oh yeah, we'll just write it down. Well, you don't understand that you have your idea in your head and you have to put in 1,500 words a day for 3 months. Okay. Every single day. Otherwise, your book is never going to get done. You have to do 1,500 words a day. That's it. And then once your words are down, then you have to edit it, which takes another month. They're not easy to do. It's not something you just, you know, piss out your brain. And like I said, my stuff is not going to be the greatest, but I tried really hard and I rewrote it 3 times. And that's how it is. So, all right. That's what we have. Thank you very much, Kimberly O'Connor, for coming on. And we'll work on getting some books and getting you a signed copy. All right. You got my email. You can send me your address and we'll try and get something out to you. All right. And with that, anybody who is watching in post repeat, because I won't be taking this one down. I don't think I said anything against the government. I don't think so. Just in case, though. All right. That's what we got. Keep writing the daily words. Well, that's the thing. In order to be successful in this life, what you have to do is you have to start. That's it. If you're interested in this, you're interested in that, you're interested in whatever, you have to start. And that's the thing, is once you get started, you get going. The reason that I'm talented at like mechanics and woodworking and things like that is just because I just started doing it and just kind of kept doing it. But I haven't been spinning wood in a couple of months. I mean, I made my wife a vase for Christmas, but I haven't really been doing that too much. But I still have the skills. But you have to start. You have to start doing it. And like writing is one of those things that you have to do. It's like you have to write every single day. If you're writing a book, you want to make your 1,000 to 1,500 words every single day. If you don't know where to go in your book, you write something else. You talk about the pond. You talk about your kids. You just write. Just as long as you get your 1,500 words to keep that brain going. It's the same thing with anything else. Anything else you want to be successful with. If you want to be successful with your work, same sort of thing. As you think, well, there's nothing going on that I can deal with here. What can I look into the future that's going to help me in the future? And you start working on that. You know, it's always kind of looking ahead and getting your brain into the rhythm, because your brain can get out of the rhythm really easy. All of American society is built on destroying your brain. I love movies much as anybody else, but you sit and watch that crap all day, you're going to wreck your brain. You got to do something productive, and then you go to the movies, video games. Enough ranting on that. All right, Kimberly, thank you and good night, and good night to everybody else who might be watching this later on in the future. This is Max, and we are out of here.